Thank you so much for joining me today. We like to do these stories to get a better sense of our customers and their experience with Quipli, what their experience was like before the transition to Quipli, and then how they've been liking it so far. So I'd love to start off by getting a better sense of what you do at Patriot Rents, what you rent, who you serve, and how you operate across both of your locations.
So we just rent heavy machinery. We operate out of uh, Salt Lake area, mostly northern Utah, up in Ogden, and Quipli has helped us a lot with that, making things smooth and easy, user friendly to our customers and us.
Cool. Okay, awesome. I'm glad to hear that it's been helping you so far. Can you tell me a little bit about your role in the business and where you spend most of your time day to day?
I'm the CEO, so most of my time is spent uh, just running the business, acquisitions, making sure all the taxes are paid, basically,
Yeah.
things like that, is is my role.
Okay. Yeah, I guess as the CEO, you're probably involved in really all facets of the business. No day to day
Yeah,
looks quite the same.
nope.
And before switching to Quiply, what was your biggest frustration that you had with your previous software provider? And was it more on the customer side, internal operations, or both?
Mostly internal operations. Uh, was just strenuous. There was too much going on with uh what we needed, and Quiply just helped really streamline it, bring it kind of more to a uh, modern, fast-paced world we live in.
Okay. Was there a particular reason why you were looking to switch softwares to begin with? It looks like you were coming from a legacy software, but I'm wondering if there was like something specific that you were looking for or looking to kind of remove yourself from when you were considering transitioning.
Multiple major things actually. One of the biggest was customer support and listening to our needs,
Mm-hmm.
of what we needed to have. And then it was old. So I wanted something more up to date with the way people think, the way younger people think, want to use software, want to use their phones, and not be basically using just a jumped up version of Excel, basically,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
everything's old school. I mean, as nice as some of that stuff is, it's we live in a world of AI, so
Mm-hmm.
just having things faster, easier to make orders.
Yep.
And then price. It was expensive for something that wasn't actually very good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it did the job, but it also took a lot of time to train people in to use it.
Okay.
It'd be oftentimes a week, sometimes more, before somebody was comfortable
Yeah.
um, placing orders for customers, operating the system.
Okay.
So that is probably the biggest of all of that.
Okay. Yeah. There was a difficult learning curve, it sounds like, for new employees and people to join.
Yeah, unless if someone was already diverse in, Google Sheets or Excel, that type of stuff already, it typically was pretty easy for them. But
Okay. Yeah, but other than that, for newcomers, it was not as intuitive as a modern software would be.
yeah,
Okay. Okay, got it. And then when you decided to transition to a new software, what stood out to you about Quiply?
the biggest thing was their willingness to help build out and give me things that we needed, um, instead of being stuck in kind of this like, oh, if our software isn't what you're looking for, then just go find something else.
Mm.
No, they're willing to work with things, because I would say nobody just has everything.
Mhm.
Uh, Somebody who's willing to be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Um, let's bring that up and try to build it out if it's something that's going to help, instead of just being like, well, that's something you're looking for. We don't do that because, go somewhere else type of thing.
Right.
Um, that was probably the biggest thing.
Okay. You were looking for like a collaborative partner rather than just a software provider where it's like
Yes.
take it or leave it. And once you actually decided to move forward with Quipli, how was that transition from the legacy software that you were on to Quipli and the learning curve? Like you said, there was a challenging learning curve with your previous software, but I'm wondering if you experienced that or if it was a more seamless experience when you did transition to Quipli.
It was a pretty seamless experience. I mean, there obviously was some stuff that is probably going to come up with anything, but
Hmm.
um, and a new experience learning. But I would say within a week, my entire team knew what they were doing, um, and it didn't take much explain for them to a lot of stuff they even just figured out on their own.
Okay.
So, but obviously it was something new, so it took I'd say by the once we went active, it didn't take long before everybody knew what they were doing. And
Mhm. And what about, like I mean, I don't know if you've had newcomers join your team since you've transitioned to Quiply, but if you were to have someone come on, do you think it would be a more intuitive experience for someone to learn how to use Quiply now compared to your previous provider?
definitely, yeah. And I have had new people come on. On that front, uh, my experience was when I made the switch, then I actually my wife had no experience in anything, and I like opened up two computers and I would told her to like figure out how to you don't need to know anything about the equipment, just make an order for a random customer.
Mhm.
And with our old software she basically just froze,
Okay.
and with Quiply she kind of just was like, oh yeah, obviously she didn't know what equipment was and anything to do with that, but as far as just learning how to navigate the system, how to navigate the software, she figured it out and made an order within 5 minutes. It was
Mhm.
pretty seamless there.
Okay. Awesome. That's great feedback. Um, were there any unexpected hurdles or, like, big fast wins when you did transition?
The fastest wins were noticing how much more intuitive not only my customers were with getting their emails and figuring out how to read them, and we started getting a lot less calls on what the transactions were going to. We started getting a lot less calls on um, basically needing to explain their invoices to I would say that was probably one of the fastest seamless wins. And then even in house, then the front counter knowing like, okay, these invoices are paid, and not having things go so far to the billing department having to trace everything down. That kind of just was able to be taken care of at the front counter for the most part.
Okay.
Those are some of my biggest wins.
Cool. Yeah. So a little bit better a better experience for the customers and then just like a faster process for the people at the front desk, less
Yeah.
backtracking and so on. Okay. Got it. So I've heard that you're running two locations and I'm wondering how Quickly has helped you run both simultaneously.
I don't know if there's supposed to be a hurdle, but I mostly operate out of one. So I move a lot of equipment out of two locations,
Mhm.
but most of my calls, most of my customer service, most of all of that's just out of one location. And it's easy to see inventory from here and see everything moving on in the company,
Mhm.
what's what's going where, moving the equipment around because we move a lot of equipment just between the two.
Mhm.
It's been pretty smooth.
Okay. Awesome. Um, has it made a
I gu-
difference in how confident you are about dispatch, scheduling, or knowing where your equipment stands? You just answered that part of my question.
I guess kind of along the same lines as just my entire team knowing where everything is
Mhm.
versus only the experienced people knowing where everything is. Um,
Okay.
would be, I mean, both systems worked. but I would say on the front of or on the side of just everybody knowing and not so many questions being thrown around. Quipli has been a lot smoother with that,
Hmm.
um, moving everything around and knowing where everything is, and then everybody who needs to know actually knowing without having to go ask some techie person or something like that.
Okay, right,
Um,
right. So it's keeping everyone on the same page internally.
yes.
Okay, awesome. And then you mentioned the first noticeable difference was how your customers were reacting to it. So I was going to ask if you've noticed any changes or if the customers have noticed changes in service speed or ease of renting.
Yes. Yeah, they get, this quickly you can text with. So, and a lot of people in the modern age, that's what they want to see. So, sending, you know, information, a lot of the information is able to be sent with text message. So, customers don't call as much, wondering where it's at in their emails, things like that.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're having that it's a better experience for your customers. The next thing I want to go into is from what I've heard from the team, you've played a really big role in helping us shape Quipli's feature, and it also sounds like that was one of the main reasons why you wanted to switch to Quipli to begin with. Can you tell me a little bit more about your involvement with the product and how you've collaborated with the Quipli team to develop new features?
Yeah, we've collaborated a lot on some of the new features, like dispatch. Um, that was probably one of the biggest ones. Uh, Several little things here and there that's made the system a lot easier for us anyway. And I hope it's making it easier for everyone else. But things that we've wanted to see and how easily it is to use each new system. And even when they do come out with new things that you can use, then it's always an improvement. It always makes things easier. It always makes things much better, easier to track. Been really good on that front
Okay.
of things.
Awesome. So you're saying that like both the stuff that you've collaborated on, but also just independently, the features that we've released have been beneficial to you.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, some stuff that I didn't even think of that Quipley's done good with collaborating with their other customers to bring up that I haven't even thought about that has made things easier.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Okay. That's great. I'll pass that feedback on to the product team, which is like a pretty new team here at Quiply. And I know they're trying to incorporate customers' feedback as much as possible into the way that we develop our features. So obviously, rather than, going based off of assumptions on what works best for customers, we like to make sure that we are actually hearing your voices. Which leads me into my next question, which is when you have collaborated with Quiply on features, do you feel like your voice has been heard and like your ideas are actually brought to life in that process?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes things have taken time, but I think they have always done good at working towards it. Yeah. Some of the features just excited about is like tracking integration, things like that. Better tracking when it comes to the individual equipment and like what's going on with them, their collaboration that they've done with Boom and Bucket,
Hmm.
things like that. Those have all been really good collaborations that I think they're willing to work with, other businesses out there that may have something that they have already figured out, but just integrating it into Quickly's been something that I guess I don't see a lot of other people doing. They, want to
Hmm.
keep it all to themselves too much.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we have a list of partners and integrations, and we kind of try to continue to add to that based on what makes the most sense for expanding our own product and what features we have available. And then, do you feel like your team has saved any noticeable time on admin work compared to when you were using the legacy software previously?
Much, a lot of time.
And what does that really look like for your team?
Everything really, from the front desk making orders to being on phones. Um, a lot less asking other teammates. I mean, it's good to collaborate with your team. Like, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's redundant when it's like asking other teammates how to do things that is a lot more self-explanatory with Quiply.
Mhm.
The billing department can keep track of what's going on a lot better now and just a lot more seamlessly without asking a bunch of questions about the order. It's a lot more self-explanatory, a lot of information and notes without having to go so deep into it. You kind of can just open up the order and it tells you a lot of information right there where a lot of legacy softwares you have to just keep digging deeper and deeper and there's like 1,000 buttons to get to
Mm.
where the notes are and then you have to back all the way back out and go find where to bill and then back all the way back out and send out an email. It's
Mhm.
things like that. So it's been a lot smoother,
Okay.
faster.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it's helping just, like, stay organized as opposed to trying to, like, navigate through many different steps and trying to figure out where everything lives and then, taking care of whatever it is that you need to. It's just like, we've just reduced the amount of steps involved there.
And I think every software out there probably gets the job done, but how fast you can get the job done and with a lot less questions going on, I think speeds up the process.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. How has it made day-to-day operations feel less stressful?
We're a rental company. Day-to-day operations are always stressful.
Less stressful, yeah, no matter what.
You, ne- you never know what a customer is doing to your stuff out there.
Yep.
Stress-wise, probably just how much faster and smoother things go eases up stress, but running it, at least on my end. I guess you could probably talk to some of my employees, but stress is always high on my end.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I think most equipment rental companies will probably, agree with you on that. I don't think we've talked to anyone yet who's like, "No, this is a stress-free business that we're in," so
No, it's not.
Okay, understandable. Has Quiply given you more bandwidth to focus on customer growth rather than just feeling like you're stuck putting out fires?
Yes, yeah. Can't necessarily explain to you how, but I guess I feel like it does.
Do you have I guess, like, in thinking through these questions, do you have any specific examples that have come to mind in terms of, like, particular moments where you feel like Quiply has either helped you manage rentals or, like, save the day or helped you, with what otherwise could have been a fire? Is there anything like that that comes to mind?
I can just think of off the top of my head. I definitely feel a lot less stress because, like I said, everybody's not throwing questions around and then trying to figure it out and calling up support on how to do something. So
Mhm.
I think just that has just helped me feel less stressful. I
Mhm.
can't really pinpoint like a specific thing where it's like that would have been a fire with anybody else.
Mhm.
But I also wasn't in the rental industry for very long before switching to Quickly.
Okay.
I was only in the rental industry with our other software for about 3 4 months,
Mhm.
and I was like, "This is ridiculous." How? Because I purchased this company, and it was a software that they were already using when I purchased the company,
Yeah.
so it's not even a software I picked. Um, but when I tried to train in new team members and get things done, which was obviously my job right off the get go, um, then I was just like, there's got to be something easier and faster out there, something
Mhm.
that's more self explanatory, like when I go and navigate Amazon versus, navigating Timu, I guess.
Yeah.
uh, it was frustrating right off the start with how
Mhm.
many questions I saw people who had been in the industry much longer than I had been working with the company for a long time and were bringing me questions that I had no idea about, number one,
Mhm.
and um, number two I thought were ridiculous questions in the fact that it's like that should just be kind of working with the system, like the system
Mm.
should just be doing a lot of that itself or, you
So
know, making it easier.
yeah. So when you say questions here, like, people would come to you with questions, do you mean that that was mostly related to, like, the business? Like, maybe certain metrics, certain reports, or was it
No. a
Okay.
lot of it was things about the system directly. That's why I switched so fast after purchasing the company,
Okay.
and started looking for new software pretty quickly.
Hmm.
Um, because some things were like, um, how do I find this out about this order? Where do I find these notes? Where do I find their shipping address? And I'm just like,
Mm,
you're saying that's not just right there for you
yeah.
to see, you know, and figure out on your own. Like I, I barely bought the company a month ago. And you've been doing this for you've been using this software for 6 months, and you don't know what's going on.
Mm,
You know, some of their employees they had that had been working for 2, 3 months when I took over were still asking questions about like along those lines.
hmm.
And since switching to Quiply, I never really have that, even from a brand new employee that started yesterday. You know,
Hmm.
things are just more self-explanatory and
Okay.
easier that way. But when it comes to your question that you asked, a specific fire, when I bought the company, I was nonstop putting out fires already.
Hmm.
And so I guess I can't pinpoint, other than what I explained about things being smoother and more self-explanatory. I can't think of like a specific fire situation
Okay.
that.
Yep. It sounds like you entered the rental industry, acquired this company, and it was just like really hard for people to navigate it and to find information and just like slowing down your overall operations and the work that you were doing internally. Um, and has Quiply helped you avoid any costly mistakes, missed opportunities, or any issues related to customers?
Um, yes, there actually used to be a lot more customers disputing transactions because not even the team knew what some of it was, because it
Mm,
didn't wasn't as explanatory in our old system, and so it's helped a lot there with knowing the value placed on that rental, number one, and being able to explain that to a customer that has a question about it,
hmm.
instead of being like, oh well, okay, we can't trace that down, we can't figure it out, so here's your refund. um and therefore it's helped a lot with us just being able to say, hey, this is what it is. A customer's like, okay, now I understand.
Hmm.
Okay, the deal was the deal, type of thing.
Yeah, right, right. That's great. I feel like it sounds like it's helped with like transparency then between the business and
Yes.
the customer. Okay. In terms of business growth, has switching to Quiply freed up any time where you've been able to invest more in the company or I don't know, see more into your metrics where you can actually focus on growing your business?
I would say the metrics that we see and understanding it is about the same. How quickly we could understand it, and how more transparent the same metrics are, is definitely something that's helped. Just time wise, been a little more free to be able to focus on the other things that need to be being done, instead of, kind of like I said, about just that Excel experience versus the modern way of seeing your matrix, seeing them more on like a table,
Hmm.
um, and having those things be a little more clear instead of trying to understand it like a spreadsheet,
Okay. Yeah,
has
that makes.
just made things just more time friendly.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, but it's giving you a little more like context into some of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it feel easier to experiment, adapt, or try new things with now that you have Quiply in place?
Yes. It's helped us a lot with bringing on, more partners, being able to work with even some of our competitors to help. Uh, we sometimes don't have things that we're, instead of sending our customers to our competitors, then it's helped a lot with us being able to just work with them to get the equipment to our customers, and therefore kind of keeping our customers as our customers. Um, It's also helped us a lot with keeping track of our inventory a lot better instead of just because the inventory is a lot more clear and understood by everybody. You're not thinking that you have something because it was there yesterday, but it keeps itself a lot more updated quicker without so much manual input.
Mhm.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it does. It does. Thank you. And then, just kind of wrapping up here, I'm wondering if you had to sum up Quipli's impact on Patriot rentals in one sentence, what would you say?
um, and the greatest move I've made since taking over the company.
That's great. Okay. And what advice or what would you say to another rental company who's looking to switch or considering switching from a legacy software to Quipli?
To do it. Stop thinking so much about it. To do it, it's worth it.
Mhm.
It's worth the switch. Not only have I felt like price for what you get is a lot higher, but also it's just the amount of money spent into training team members, I would say, has been the biggest thing,
Mhm.
biggest of it. Just being able to set a new employee down and have them to be able to just go to work has saved a lot of time, saved a lot of money. I'd say that, yeah,
Okay.
just do it.
Just do it. All right, I like it. Great. Thanks so much for all your feedback. It's always really great to hear from our customers on what their experience has been like with Quiply, what the transition was like, what they were doing before, and so on. So I really appreciate you taking the time to sit with me and to fill me in on Patriot Rents and what the experience with Quiply has been like. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you having this conversation with me.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.